Hey there, America. You know, I um, I really like that series HBO Rome. It only ran for 2 seasons. My wife, she actually bought me the DVDs for them. It was really nice of her, and I've watched it over and over and over again. I love that show, and it opened my eyes. I did not know Caesar was so cool. When Caesar marched over the Rubicon, and invaded Rome, and he had that little civil war, and he had to take over, and then he chased Pompey all the way down to Egypt, and he lost his shit when the Egyptians cut off his head, Pompey's head, and served it to Caesar as some kind of tribute or a reward or something, and yeah, Caesar got really fucking mad because they abused a Roman, but after he got power, Caesar ordered the nobles to stop employing slaves, and the nobles hated his fucking guts for that. They wanted slaves, and they didn't want to pay living wages to the Romans, and they really wanted their slaves. They wanted their slaves so much they conspired to stab the shit out of Caesar when when he wasn't looking, or when his bodyguards were gone or distracted. Um, it's now Caesar. He wanted to save the republic, and at his time, now he was Jesus's grandfather. So him and Cleopatra produced an heir, and they didn't kill that one, um, because it was a girl, and she offered no threat to the crown or the throne of Rome. So they allowed her to live, and Octavian kept that little girl in his court, and they 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 had a great dispute with Persia, and it was King Phereces, I think his name was, of Persia. He's the suicide king in the deck of cards. He is the king with the sword in his head. That was Jesus's father, because he married Selene, um, from the union of Caesar and Cleopatra, and Octavian gave Selene to King Phereces as I don't know, peace tribute or whatever. Two empires trying to come together and trying to mend things. But she, in typical Egyptian fashion, she killed Pharisees, and um, she had a sexual union with her offspring, which is typical fashion, and that disgusted the Persian people, and they chased them out of Persia, and she ended up in Edessa, which was on the outskirts of between Israel and Persia, or I guess at that time it would have been Roman Egypt and Persia, but Edessa was a little buffer country, and that's where Jesus was born. So his lineage could have been Egyptian, Roman, and Persian. Um, Probably that's what happened. So um, when Selene was kicked out of Persia and she ended up in Edessa, she was probably carrying Pharisee's child, because her little young offspring, whoever the fuck it was, couldn't really produce an heir. So she dropped Jesus off in Edessa, and their royalty. They had a shit ton of money, not only just from the Persian side, but from the Egyptian crown and from the Roman side. She was set up really well. So um, um, even though she was kicked out of Persia, she ended up in Edessa, and they took over, kind of like after Rome kicked the shit out of Jerusalem, and they went and found refuge in the south of France and developed Orange, the little city of Orange. That was Orania. Um, that's the bloodline. But I got off on a tangent there. But Caesar did not want slaves, and the reason why Caesar did not want slaves in the empire is because he couldn't tax property or work. He needed Romans to work so he could tax them, and he needed tax revenues to save the empire. And that's the very same situation we're in right now, because our nobles, our rich, snot-nosed little sons of bitches, the billionaires, the elites, they don't want to hire Americans. They only want to hire HB1 visa, Hindu, Indians, any Haitian, any Somali, anybody who can't speak the language, who doesn't know how our taxes and doesn't know how our legal system works, so they can abuse the holy hell of them. But they will not hire white Americans, because they do not want to pay us a living wage, and our nation is suffering for it, because our poor white people, our tax-paying citizens, they got to pay for the invaders. They got to pay for their Section 8 housing. They got to, because the rich aren't paying them. They're paying them dog shit wages. So they're forcing us to pay their Section 8 housing. They're forcing us to pay their health insurance, and they're forcing us to pay their food stamps. So they're bringing in all these slaves, and they're paying them dog shit, but they can get away with it because we have this social safety net that was set up for us, real Americans, but is being abused because the rich need slaves, and they refuse to hire Americans, and it's killing us because we have this huge tax burden to support their massive slave labor force, and we have to fight their wars, but they're endless stupid wars, and we don't have any money. And there's no American citizens that are gainfully employed. They're taxable. Um, it's bad. It's really bad. So that's the situation we're in. We're getting fucked. They're the nobles, our rich snot-nosed sons of bitch billionaires are fucking us just the way that the nobles fucked Caesar 2,000 years ago. Take care, America. You chew on that and think about it, and let me know what you think. I will keep on digging. We will beat these sons of bitches. I promise you, we're gonna fucking beat them. All we got to do is work together. We can beat them.